Good morning, because it is still morning. It's only been a few hours. This was another short day. Um, I was trying something a little bit different, which was getting the hair out of my mouth. I tried something a little bit different, which was I found the GoPro my girlfriend owns, uh, and I cooked that up for the first time in 10 years. It's been a long time. I got that charged and memory cards emptied, and I tried to use that. We'll see if anything came out. I'm not even sure. I tried to use it this morning um, when I was getting ready and like bringing things out to the car, and thankfully there was just a little bit of ice on the car. There really wasn't. We got kind of a dusting of snow last night, but otherwise it's been clear for the past few days. It's mostly melted everything, which is nice. But it was doing something where I'd tell it to record and I press the record button and then it wouldn't record. So I don't know. I noticed that after I got in the car, and then I've got a mount up here on the windshield to kind of show what it looks like when I'm driving, to just, scenery or some time lapse shots. I can speed up the footage or something like that, just to, put in some B-roll, essentially, something to break up the it's not just wildlife and show some more of the nature and some of the landscape. I think that was rolling the whole time, but it may have stopped at some point. I'm not sure. And then the same thing when I was setting everything up, I had it going. So we'll see if that works. I just did it to break down, and it turned off because the battery's dead. So I definitely think I need to get a new battery because this battery's really old and does not hold the charge that well. I already priced that. I can get some replacement batteries for not that much, so I probably will buy that because I do think this is useful to show. Hopefully, the footage, if it looks any good, it's a lot easier for me to do than that. I wasn't wanting to add one more thing to remember and one more thing, which is why I didn't immediately start with the GoPro. Although I know that we owned one, it is really old. It only does 1080, which you think about and go, oh, it only does 1080, but like that can do 4K if I wanted it to, but then it's super cropped in, and I try to do everything else in at least 4K and get the best quality footage that I can. But anyway, besides that, I did learn from last week's mistake, last week's lesson. I brought some stakes this time, or I brought a hammer to hammer in the stakes this time for the tent. And that worked out pretty well. It still got windy, and mostly I got cold, and that's why I decided I'd rather call it quits for right now. I did get set up, put everything together, tripod, camera, got all my bags on the ground, everything like that, popped the tent, put that out, started looking at it. It was like, gotta put the stakes in, got out of the tent, was doing that, and I'm out of the tent, and I forgot. Here's another lesson, and this one I do actually financially pay for. I left the camera on the tripod in there, and I had unlocked the panning and tilting both ways so I could look at it, and it went with the wind. The wind kind of pushed it, and it went, and the tripod fell, and so the camera fell. It fell lens down, which is the worst way it could possibly fall, and it did break the top flap that I was using from the what is this called? The matte box. The matte box had side panels that I took off anyway because I wasn't using them nearly as much. This one was just kind of useful to put it on the front in case I'm shooting where there's sun coming down, and you can use that to block it off and you don't get sun flares or glares in your footage or anything like that. So this was pretty useful. It's still somewhat useful without it, but it protected the lens, which is great. And that's why whenever I have any of my photography lenses, I always try to shoot, if I can, with a lens hood on it. Because even if, and I've experienced that before, even if there's no sun glaring or anything like that, and I've just got it and I drop it, which I've done, I had my Canon 5D Mark II with the Canon 70 to 200 millimeter, and I had it on a belt clip, and my fat roll went over the belt clip and apparently pushed the button, and the whole thing just dropped and it fell on the ground and bounced around. Mostly because I had the lens hood, didn't damage the lens, thankfully. It just kind of scraped up the body of the camera and the lens hood itself on the front where it went from lens down to lens forward, which is fine. So, thankfully, I had that. That's a good thing there. I was looking to replace this anyway. I wasn't looking to replace it right now, but stuff happens. So, it is what it is. Mostly I got cold. The wind wasn't too bad, especially the stakes in the ground. I bent a couple of the stakes. They're not the highest quality. I might look at getting something a little bit thicker, a little bit higher steel percentage. I don't know what. A stronger metal, maybe. I'll have to look and see what I can do. Um, or I just live with them being bent. Doesn't really bother me. I just need them to serve one purpose, which is keep the tent from blowing away in the strong wind. So the tent started blowing, but it's fine. It was being held down. I didn't feel like I had to sit there and hold it or anything. But mostly I got cold. It's really cold today. It's like 12 degrees when I came out. I'm sure it hasn't gotten much more. I don't think it's supposed to be above 20 today, which usually isn't too bad, but it is when I haven't been eating properly. I already don't feel 100%. I snoozed for an hour this morning. I still managed to get out right around sunrise, but it wasn't the best that I've done before, and that absolutely is attributed to the fact that this is Sunday. On Friday, I had a bunch of fried food, being like, "Yeah, I'm done with this diet." Then Saturday we had pizza, and then I made Chinese stuff last night. Like it's just been garbage after garbage after garbage, and that affects like I'm groggy, I'm tired, I don't have nearly as much energy, I got cold way faster, I don't quite have the patience to do all that, and it just decided, you know what, I'm gonna call it for today. It's only been a few hours. I still got some pretty good shots of, I hope. I was able to get fairly close in the blind. Stuff was coming fairly close to me. I saw the otter that I saw last week for just a second. I don't think that comes out. I don't think that'll be anything you'll see in this video, because it was literally just as I was trying to gain focus and stuff, I saw it darting in and out around the bushes there. Definitely, that's the third time I've seen it. Oh, there's a hawk. Oh, there's a big hawk. Oh, the window's all fogged up. Somebody's been talking. So the otter for just a second, but that's the third time I've seen it in total. I didn't know what it was the first time I came out here. I was further at another place the first time I came to the state park. I was way further down there where I didn't know this whole walking area was. And I just saw something kind of dark brown skirt along the water edge right underneath me, but I didn't see it again. And I just went, well, I don't know what that could be. It could be any kind of mammal looking thing. I'm pretty sure it's an otter, but I have yet to look at the footage to confirm that from last week. But definitely saw that again. I know for sure what I saw for quite a while, most of today, and that's kind of when I called it quits, is when it went off as well. I went, you know what, I'm cold. I've gotten what I want for today, and I've got a lot to do at home, so I'm going to call it here. A beaver. I saw a beaver for a while. This beaver had picked one spot on the ice on the opposite bank, and it was just coming up and getting to that same spot every time, and like you'd see it go and it would go back in the water and then come back up, and I assumed, I couldn't quite tell because of how far away it was, but I think it was bringing up plant life. Not flora, not fauna, one of them. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. It was bringing up vegetation. Is that a good word for it? I don't know. It was going underwater and getting branches and plants and things like that and bringing them back up to the surface and eating them. And it did this for hours. I mean, I was out here for 2 or 3 hours today, and it was doing that for most of the time. And then the wind really picked up, and it started actually pushing the water up and over onto the ice. I may have gotten a cool shot of like just water trickling across the ice as it was like slowly creeping out from the wind. But everything started hunkering down. All the waterfowl that were out there were just nope, and started hunkering down. And the beaver quit using that one spot and came up around, and it was mostly just bobbing up and down, but it was like right, like here I am on the bank, here's the water, and it's here, like right 10 feet away maybe. So that's actually almost a little too close for what I've got as a setup right now. But yeah, I decided I was done with the tent, and I thought maybe I'll walk around and do some walking with the handheld. Well, do some walking with it up on my shoulder like it's handheld. And I just got back and decided I'm cold and I'm tired. And like I said, I'm several weeks behind on editing stuff. I have just not had the energy to do that. when, and I'm saying when and not if, because that's the only way, is if I mentally tell myself it's a when, I go full-time in this, the 40 hours a week I spend on the computer already as my full-time job, my job that actually pays me money instead of this, when this becomes the point where this could be a full-time job and pay me money, and I could sit at home at the computer and that's my editing time instead of working for another company, then I still have time where I can shoot and go out and do different things, and hopefully that'll make it better with that stuff. Right now it's just weekends, and I've been lazy and playing video games over the last 2 days. I started editing a little bit yesterday, but for the most part, yesterday was taken up by some gaming, which was awesome, with my sister, and then the youngest sibling, my brother, built a PC yesterday, and I walked them through the whole thing because they'd never done that before, and I have now built two. And yeah, they finally got all the parts in for their gaming PC, and they decided it was time. So we built a gaming PC yesterday over Discord on the video call, which gives me the itch to make another. I was just sitting there being like, is there a computer store in town? Could I just go apply and be like, hey, can I come in on like the weekend and just build computers for you? You could pay me, I guess, but I just like building computers. I'm sure that I could. No, not really. Let's be real. I can't just walk into a place and be like, hey, I like to build computers. Give me a job. Maybe, but I'm sure they also would want a degree depending on what kind of company it is, or it would be so low, like a small family-owned store kind of thing with somebody who does computer repair, not much building computers, and certainly not building high-end gaming computers. That's not going to work. Anyway, that has nothing to do with anything wildlife related or just what was going on yesterday, what I'm thinking about. I'm going to go home and get cleaned up and get everything put away and figure out if I can afford to replace this mat box with something. I already wanted one a bit. This is huge. I wanted one a little bit smaller, but I also was holding off on that because I really want to get a new lens. And I think I talked about this last week a little bit. I don't know. I haven't edited it yet, but in the vlog here, I got a raise, so more money that I can start putting towards stuff. I might be able to figure out a budget to be able to afford things that I want. For example, a cinema lens, an actual zoom ratio cinema lens, another Canon, but a 70 to 200 like I was just talking about, but this time it actually has zoomable capabilities, but that's $5,000, so that on its own, I need a new tripod for sure, and there's plenty of other things that I want to get. If I could figure out how to get $70,000 so I could buy the Canon 50 to 1000, that's the dream, but boy, $70,000 is more than I'm ever going to be able to save. I don't know how that's going to happen. Anyway, time to go home.